There's a scripture that I used to read casually. I thought it was simply marriage advice, a suggestion, a recommendation, a preference, but I would eventually learn that it was a warning. Paul writes, "Do not be unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship has righteousness with lawlessness, and what communion has light with darkness?" For years I ignored that warning, not because I hated God, because I was lonely. There is a difference. Loneliness will make you negotiate with things that wisdom would immediately reject. Loneliness will make you call compromise love. Loneliness will make you call attachment destiny. Loneliness will make you mistake obsession for affection. Loneliness will make you yoke yourself to people God never assigned to your life. That was me. By this point, I had spent years moving from relationship to relationship, breakup, makeup, promises, disappointment, heartbreak, fear, running. Always running. One thing I noticed looking back was that the men I dated rarely let go easily. I would leave, change my phone number, move, disappear, and somehow they would find me again. At the time I interpreted that as value. I thought it meant I was special. I thought it meant I was desirable. I thought it meant I was unforgettable. Now I see something different. I was attracting brokenness because I was broken. And broken people often create bonds that feel intense but are not healthy. What I called love was often attachment. What I called passion was often chaos. What I called destiny was often dysfunction. And I kept repeating the cycle. I was searching for a man who could make me feel safe, a man who could protect me, a man who could cover me, a man who could lead, because if I was honest, I had never really seen one. Outside of one veterinarian who challenged my father and spoke truth when others remained silent, I could not point to many men in my life that I respected. I saw violence, I saw passivity, I saw compromise, I saw fear, I saw selfishness, but I rarely saw courage, and because I did not know what healthy leadership looked like, I chased imitations of it. Men who appeared strong, men who appeared confident, men who appeared dominant, men who looked powerful, men who looked like they knew where they were going, but appearance and character are not the same thing. I learned that lesson repeatedly, one relationship after another, one disappointment after another, one wound after another. Then came Saddam. There was something different about Saddam. I was older than him, he was immature, he did not know what he wanted, commitment terrified him. But there was a connection that I could not explain. I became convinced that somehow our lives belonged together. I believed things that had never actually been spoken. I built stories in my head. I imagined futures. I imagined marriage. I imagined permanence. And yet, reality never matched the fantasy. The relationship never moved forward. It never became what I wanted it to become. But instead of listening to that warning, I looked elsewhere. And that is how Hamza entered the picture. Online. Handsome. Charming. Ready to settle down. At least that was the image. And image had always been my weakness. I convinced myself this was the answer. I convinced myself this was God opening a door. I convinced myself that perhaps I had finally found the family I had been searching for all my life. So I got on a plane and flew to Morocco. I packed gifts. I packed expectations. I packed dreams. I packed loneliness. I packed wounds. And I carried all of them into a country I knew almost nothing about. The welcome was overwhelming. His family embraced me. His mother embraced me. His sisters embraced me. The warmth touched something in me that had been starving for years. I wanted belonging. I wanted family. I wanted acceptance. I wanted to be chosen. And for a moment, it felt like I had finally found it. But beneath the hospitality, I began noticing things. Things I could not explain. Things that unsettled me. Things that reminded me of home. His mother rarely smiled. There was a sadness in her eyes, a heaviness, a resignation. His father reminded me of my own father in ways that disturbed me. There was strength. There was authority. But there was also something underneath it. Something I recognized. Something that felt familiar. And familiarity is dangerous when you have not healed. Because wounded people are often attracted to what wounded them. I could see fear in Hamza. I could see tension. I could see resentment. I could see things that reminded me of my own childhood. And then I began hearing stories. Stories that shocked me. stories that disturbed me, stories that challenged everything I thought I knew. The more I listened, the more questions I had. The more questions I asked, the fewer answers I received. And for the first time in my life, I started realizing that I had spent years chasing acceptance without ever asking whether what I was accepting was true. That realization led to one of the most consequential decisions of my life. I converted to Islam. Not because I had searched the scriptures, not because I was convinced it was true, not because I had encountered God. I converted because I wanted to belong. I converted because I wanted to be accepted. I converted because I wanted the family. I converted because I wanted the man. And whenever you make a spiritual decision for emotional reasons, you are stepping onto dangerous ground.